Hello and welcome to part 2 of the series where I'm going through all of this yarn that I inherited from friends of mine who moved interstate. Now, if you haven't seen the first video, feel free to pause this, go and check that one out, and then come back to this one because we have already been through 2 big boxes of yarn and a little bag that contained a project in it. And now we are going through this giant box. So I think this probably has as much in it as we have already seen in the previous video. So I've split it into 2 and I can't wait to open this and see what's in it. I'm hoping for a couple of very specific things in here, and if you've seen the first video, you'll know what I'm looking for. If you haven't seen it, again, go watch that and then come back. What are you doing still here, you know? All right, I am going to cut this bad boy open and let's see what we've got. I had to move you back a little because I literally couldn't fit the box here in between the couch and the coffee table. So let's see. I also do have a little bit of a cold that I'm recovering from. So if you notice that my voice is a little lower than normal, that is why. I have no idea how full this box actually is and how much is just like filler. Evidently a little bit of filler in here. Wow, okay. I don't know if this is meant to be stuffing. It kind of seems like wadding almost, like it's in a sheet. If you know what this is, please let me know. I mean, I could also ask my friends. It's not like I don't talk to them anymore, you know? But we have quite a lot of that. We have quite a lot of that to begin with. And then this is a bag of actual stuffing. So I will be able to use that, which is good. Whoa, and now we get to the yarn. I am so excited. Okay, first of all, I see a couple of crochet books in here. So this is pretty cute, a little crochet magazine in here that's gonna have a bunch of patterns that I might be able to check out. Then there is also a Peyton's Learn to Crochet book. I probably don't need this because I do know how to crochet, but from a little flick through, it looks like there is also some kind of basic patterns in here, so potentially we could make some of those. And then finally we have this heirloom crochet club, 12 exquisite throws and cushions to inspire. So I mean, looking at the back of them, they look pretty colorful and funky. Who knows, I probably won't make them, but always fun to have, you know, some extra project ideas lying around. Now let's get into the yarn, shall we? I can see on top here yarn that I remember my friend buying, and I think they were originally going to use this to make the sausage dog toy. And then obviously, if you watched the last video, they ended up using that merino wool and making like a much smaller one, which I am unfortunately going to frog. Sorry guys. But red blanket yarn, very happy with that. And so funny because like a couple of months ago, a friend of mine commissioned an Anchor the Octopus off me and chose this dark red yarn, and I did not have enough of it, and I had to buy some off a friend of mine, Chaos Auntie, who thankfully had some in her stash. But all along, I could have hit up my friends. They probably didn't remember they had this. They did tell me while they were packing that they came across a lot more yarn than they expected to find, so I have inherited more than we thought. Gosh, I'm excited to go through the rest of this already, but this is already a big win. 2 full mill end bags of red blanket yarn. And as you know, I always love finding blanket yarn in the mill end, so this is like extra fun bonus, you know? All right, we have this Filo Grande 100% acrylic. This does feel like I could use it to connect those granny squares. So the 2 things that I was hoping to find in here was a yarn suitable to connect the granny squares from last video for the blanket, and also if there was more of that merino wool in here, I would be very happy. So potentially we found one of those 2 things that I wanted. All right, let's keep going. Haha, Hugh and me. This looks like the same green that they were making the granny squares out of. I did say in the last video that the amount of the green yarn they had left wouldn't be enough to make as many granny squares as the other colors had, so maybe this is the start of the rest of the granny squares they were intending to make. Looking at those two next to each other, I really do think I could use the Filo Grande, Sean Sheep is the brand, to connect them. If you can see that, they do look like a very similar thickness. So, I reckon we could be onto something there. Also, this Hue and Me yarn, if you don't know, is 80% acrylic and 20% wool. I see this in Spotlight all of the time. I've never actually bought it and used it, but it feels really nice. So potentially I'm like learning about new yarns here that I'll want to use. How good. I have spotted another ball of that. So that is 2 of the greens, which feels right for making the rest of the granny squares, you know. However, I think before I even bother doing that, I would lay out the granny squares we already have, because I think there's 32 of them, which makes that works for making a granny square blanket. I just don't know size wise if it works. But like even rows and columns, it works. Am I making any sense? Probably not. This is more of the Feels Like Butter yarn. So that there was a blanket in the last video that was made out of Feels Like Butter. This is definitely the same one. It feels exactly the same. It looks the same. So we've got another ball of that. So I'm really hoping I can finish that blanket or like do something with it to make it work without using the pink that we had in the last video. Yes. Okay. All right. It looks like we have an order from, this bag says Maker on it, M-A-Y-K-R. And if you were not around like a couple years ago, that is Source of Fiber before they were called Source of Fiber. So it looks like in here we do have some Source of Fiber skeins of Dirty DK. So I guess the bag was like, they were using up the bags that they still had left, because the actual wool has been rebranded in here. And there is quite a lot. So first up, we've got these 4 colors, which is like giving Very Hungry Caterpillar vibes a little bit. So those 4 are full skeins that we've got in here. And then I can also see some that are potentially attached to projects. This one is not actually attached. I thought it was. So that's another green. But here is a project. This looks like the start of maybe a jumper's back panel. And now I'm realizing that in one of the other boxes, there was the start of a green panel. So I'm guessing that's the other side of this. You know what I'm saying? Like this was panel 1 and that was panel 2. I've got to follow some yarn into this box, so please bear with me for a second. Right. This is a bit of a mess, but I think these 2 are what this was made from, you know? I think the blue is still connected and the green is just like dregs that hasn't been wound and is potentially caught on some other projects in here. Oh, no, there we go. All right. So I will need to do something with this, probably wind it, but that is definitely that same Dirty DK. And this blue is for sure joined to another project. All right, there we go. So this one is attached here. All right, that is quite a lot of this Dirty DK. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full skeins plus this blue plus whatever I frog out of this. So quite a lot of that yarn. Those are 100 gram, no, sorry, those are 200 gram skeins of 100% acrylic if you're not familiar with Dirty DK from Source of Fiber. I personally have never used it before, so I'm definitely going to get a chance to use it. Feels really pretty soft for an acrylic, so happy days. All right, there is a massive project in here. I'm kind of scared to pull it out. So let's start by just pulling out this random piece of fabric. I mean, cute piece of fabric. No idea what I would do with it. Okay. Oh boy. This is for sure the start of a blanket. Look at that. That is like stunning, but it's very heavy. It's connected to this yarn, which looks a lot like some of the balls of yarn we had in the last boxes. So I guess this is also, now that I'm looking at it, this is all of the colors that were in that box. So I reckon this is a project I could continue. I would just need to play around with the hook size to figure out like how to match the tension on this, but this is like a beautiful ripple blanket, and depending on, it's quite big and heavy. So I'm thinking maybe what I could do, it's also quite long, like that is my arms almost outstretched the whole way. So potentially I could make that the length of it, you know, and just do a few more rows. Even as it is now, it's like the perfect size lap blanket. Honestly, oh my gosh, this was like so close to being finished, you guys. Okay, I think this is a project I am going to try and finish. Oh, it's quite heavy. I also think my cats will love it, which is not the point, but that is the reality of the house I live in. All right, this is a bit of a mess though that I will want to try and sort out. Okay, wow. That I think would have been contributing to how heavy this box felt. There's also a little bit of yarn that is tangled up in this project, so let's follow that and see where it goes. I think it might be attached to another project. Perhaps the start of a shirt in that same fabric. And I reckon what we found before was maybe a sleeve. Unfortunately, I don't sew, otherwise like that would be sick. Right, I think this is a raglan something that has been begun in Flinders cotton. And I think the grey is attached to it, but I also think this kind of cream color is attached to it. So I'm gonna have to do some untangling. Please bear with me. Okay, I think I have found all of the Flinders and Brighton cottons that were used on this. This is really cute, but I just don't, this is one of those things that I'm like, I don't know like what hook size is being used, and I don't know what the sizing was gonna be. And to be honest, I don't know that raglan construction looks the best on me, so I don't think I would want to continue it, but I love the colors, so I'm kind of glad that this has been started so I can get a bit of a vibe for a colorway. But you can see a little bit here how much of the Flinders and Brighton cottons there are. Flinders is 100% cotton and Brighton is like 50-50 cotton and acrylic. So let me quickly show you how much of each color we've got. I actually think there's just 2 of each of the colors, but there is this like kind of lightish brown that's in Flinders 100% cotton. This one is in Brighton, which is the 50-50. That's kind of like an ecru-ish type color. Then back in Flinders, we have this gray, this mustard yellow, which is one of my favorite colors. This brown is in the Brighton, and I quite like the kind of not, I don't know what this is called when there's like a little bit of white kind of running through it, but I love that. Then we have 2 of this avocado color and 2 of the mandarin. This is back in Flinders 100% cotton. And finally this purple amethyst color on top, and blush is the pink on the bottom. So that is all of the Flinders / Brighton we've got. And all up that was 18 balls. They're all 50 grams. So quite a lot there. What's that, like 900 grams? Is that right? Yeah, so 900 grams of like cotton or cotton acrylic blend, which is kind of cool. I have to think of something to do with that. I definitely have some other Flinders and Brighton in my stash already. It is a little thinner than what I would normally work with, but I think that would give it quite a nice drape if I were to use it in a pattern. And I have been seeing a lot of patterns by Crochet by Sky, who is a New Zealand creator, and her clothing patterns are like quite timeless looking pieces, and I feel like I get to see them on like not stick thin bodies when I am seeing the kind of testing patterns for them, and Sky herself, like, and I love that so much. I have spoken before on this channel about how so much crochet clothing you only see on like a very particular body type, and that body type is not my body type, and so I find it really hard to like visualize a lot of clothing. So I think I might try and check out the Crochet by Sky. Gosh, why was that such a tongue twister? Try and check out her patterns and see if any of them might be my vibe and use these on them potentially. So I guess look out for that. Also, if you do know Crochet by Sky's patterns, please feel free to tell me if you've used any and like which ones you like. I would love to hear about it firsthand from people who have used them. Okay, moving on. There is a little bit more in this box, and then there is a bag in here that I will go through separately, I guess. So we do have more yellow of the Feels Like Butter. So again, I'm feeling like I could probably finish that blanket that we saw. Love this for me, some Kestrel's Kaleidoscope in macaron color. If you don't know, this is my yarn brand, Patty and Bango's Place, and obviously my friends were supporting me and bought some. In the last video, they had started a pattern using, or like started a project using Bango's blend, and this is the Kestrel's Kaleidoscope. So this would have been like the OG dye lot, yeah, 2024 dye lot. Isn't that crazy? Wow. 2024, time flies. I cannot believe it's been that long of doing this. Another win. A fun pink blanket yarn from Millens. That is just one ball. It does kind of look like the not as soft type of yarn. Let me feel it, hang on. Does anyone else do this in Millens? Just like rip a little hole so they can feel it? Yeah, it feels like kind of the Motivera yarn. Like, I don't know, Australians might understand. It's like a little bit microfiber feeling as opposed to like really soft feeling like a lot of the Bernat kind of ones are. Mystical, I find, is a very soft feeling yarn. This one, a little bit more towely. Okay, we've got one more bag in here. Ta-da! And I can see some projects in here. It looks like there's some tapestry projects in here. This one, I actually think I know what it might be. I think this is a goose with like a long neck. I feel like I've seen this pattern before. I just need to follow these threads to find the yarn that it's attached to. So bear with me while I do that. There's a little bit here, but I don't know. This white is attached, but this blue is not. Here we go. Okay, I have found the blue, white, and black balls. And bonus, there is also a hook in here, and it is a 5mm hook, so I'm going to assume that that is what is being used. So I just need to find this pattern. If you know what this pattern is, please drop a comment below so that I can finish this off, because I would love to finish this off. It's like so much has been done already. Oh, amazing. Love that. Love that. Okay. And bonus hook. Amazing. Another project here. This one I'm going to guess is a panel of a jumper or something. But is that long enough for a sleeve? Not quite. Maybe. Maybe it was a sleeve or something. This also looks like the avocado green in Flinders. So maybe that's what that is. But oh my gosh, so much work has been done on this, but I don't know what the rest of the pattern is. So I don't think I'm going to be able to continue it, but I feel so bad frogging such large portions of project, guys. I'm so sorry. Oh, if you have any tips for frogging yarn and not having it be all like kinked, please let me know. I mentioned it in the last video, but the tip that I was given was to like wrap it around a water bottle that has like hot or warm water in it, because that kind of relaxes the fibers. But for such a big project, like wrapping this all around hot water bottles is like, feels like it would be really difficult. So if you've got a better way, I would love to hear it. Okay, this is still attached, so I'm not going to pull too heavily. Yeah, sorry that I'm going to frog that, but great win on the yarn front. I don't know if they knew that this was in here, but there's a pair of glasses, so might send a photo of these to my friend, because I would go blind wearing these. Wow. Ooh, I don't have the need for glasses, so obviously not going to need them, and they are definitely prescription. So the things you find, I wonder if they knew they were in here. Probably not. That's my guess. My guess is that they had no idea they were in there. All right, I did also find this granny square that randomly has like these rings on it. I don't know if you can see that properly, but I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I guess I'll just take the rings off and then, I don't know, probably not do anything with the granny square, to be honest. What can you do with one granny square that someone else has made? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what yarn this is using. This clip is kind of getting stuck in it. Okay, there's one out and there's the other one out. Okay, so I've got the clips out and now I just have this one granny square. What do I do with that? Nothing, I think, is the answer. I think I just need to get rid of that. It looks like it was a lot of thin yarns held together to make that. So that feels like it was going to be something and didn't really work out for them, you know? Okay, let's move on. There's another project in here that I can see. Looks like it is attached to these two colors, which are beautiful colors. I'm loving the vibe of these. These are Carnival 8-ply acrylic yarns, and it is a little sausage dog. Again, I would love to finish this. I'm going to assume that they were using the same like 5mm hook. Seems like that is the size of hook that they used for tapestries. And I know that tapestries are just single crochets, you know. I just would need to find what pattern this is. So again, if you know what pattern this is, this little sausage dog pattern, please let me know. Would love to finish this. Oh my God. Started tapestries have to be like the most fun pattern to continue for people. All right. And I have 2 of them. How good. Bit of a random, just little bit of embroidery thread, I guess. So I'll keep that. And then the rest of this bag, which is the end of all of the yarn inheritance I got, looks like Marvel yarn. So there is this yellow color, a few black colors, and then some of the blue and white that goose was made out of. So this much of the white, this much of the blue, and finally this really cute little stitch marker that is just a little like cup. I don't know, it's kind of like a rubber stitch marker. I might change the clasp that it's on because it's on just like a lobster claw clasp like you would find on jewelry, and to me that is a little too small for me to be using as a stitch marker, but I can absolutely attach a different type of fixture to this. It's a really cute thing to use as a stitch marker. And that is everything. So let me lay it out and show it all to you in all its glory together, and then we'll wrap up. So all of that in total was 7 kilos of yarn, which is mind-blowing, which means altogether, including the stuff that I unboxed in the last video, it is 17 kilos of yarn that I have inherited from my friends, which is just, I have no words for it. It is so much yarn. I am going to need to find things to do with all of it. I think some of it I will end up donating, and there are a few projects that I'm going to finish. So I'm really looking forward to finishing that ripple blanket. I think I'm going to measure it and see how big it currently is, and then kind of see what way I can make it work. I don't think I'll make it so that the ripples are horizontal. I think I'll make it so that they're vertical. I think that will kind of work fine for the length of it. And I'll just need to add a little bit more width, and then I can finish it off, and that will mean I can get it done a little bit quicker. And also, if I were to do it the other way and to make the stripes horizontal, it would just be way too heavy. I don't know how much that particular project weighed, but I would say it's like a decent amount of the weight of that, because it is just like a chunky yarn and there's a lot of it in the project already. So that's my plan for that one. And then I'm really hoping that we can find the patterns for those 2 tapestries. I'm going to go and have a little look now and see if I can find them, because I'd love to finish those off and potentially even send them to my friends if I can get them done. I think that might be cute, like in a nice little thank you thing to send them. I don't know. If they're watching this, please don't hold me to it, because you know what it's like, you know? But the idea is there, the thought is there, and I would love to if I can. That weight also did not include this like wadding and hobby fill that we got. Again, if you know what this wadding is used for, I would love to know. If it's used in quilting, I think I should like give it to someone who sews or yeah. I just don't know. I have no idea what it's used for. I'm clearly not a very good crafter. Oh well. We also inherited this hook and a pair of glasses, which I have messaged my friend about now and let them know that I've got them so I can post them down if required. That is everything though. I am so happy that we got to go through all of these boxes together. Let me know which yarns you were most excited about, which projects you think I should prioritize finishing first, what I should make with the other yarns that don't have projects attached to them. I'd love to know all of your thoughts on that. And if you're making anything or working on anything while you're watching this, I'd also love to hear about that. Let me know what you've been up to. I know that these videos don't come out as often as they used to now that I have a little baby boss taking up more of my time. So I would love to chat to you guys in the comments. So just hit me up down there and let's kind of hang out in the comments, you know? If you liked this video, please feel free to give it a like down below. And if you've watched this far and you're not already, please feel free to hit the subscribe button. It helps our channel grow and it helps us reach more crochet crafty people with our little community, which is always a fun time. I hope that you enjoy whichever video the algorithm takes you to next. If you want to hang out with me for a little bit longer, some videos will pop up on the screen. You can click one of them and watch it, or head to my channel and see what takes your fancy on my page. Otherwise, I will catch you in the next video. Thank you so much for hanging out. Bye.